Mary stood at the entrance of the Rivers State NYSC orientation camp, watching other corps members greet each other with hugs and excited chatter. No one approached her where she stood alone with her bags. Taking a deep breath, she picked up her luggage and began walking toward the registration center. As she walked, an uncomfortable silence fell over the area. Other corps members stopped their conversations and stared at her. Mary felt their eyes following her every move. "Who brought an elephant to camp?" a lady named Janet said loudly enough for everyone to hear. The group around her burst into laughter. "Can she even carry herself during parades?" Another lady named Gift added with a smirk. "Look at how she's sweating like a Christmas goat," a third lady, Queen, chimed in. Mary heard everything they said, but she kept walking. She knew coming to this camp wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to endure whatever came her way. "It's just for 3 weeks," she whispered to herself as comfort. Little did she know that this was only the beginning of what would become the worst 21 days of her life. After completing her registration, Mary was assigned to room 7, which she would share with 4 other ladies. She entered the room and spotted an empty bunk bed in the corner. As she approached it, a voice called out from behind her, "You can't stay there. That bunk is for my friend." Mary turned around to find Gift, one of the ladies who had mocked her at the gate earlier. "But this bunk isn't dressed and looks completely empty," Mary pointed out. "She's coming soon. I already claimed the space for her," Gift insisted. Claimed the space? Mary wondered. Isn't bunk allocation supposed to be first come, first served? Looking around, she noticed all the bottom bunks had been taken. Just then, Janet and Queen entered the room. "Who do we have here?" Janet asked with fake surprise. "Well, it seems the fat pig is our roommate," Gift replied, and all 3 burst into cruel laughter. With no other options, Mary walked to the only available space, a top bunk. As she attempted to climb the ladder to make her bed, she missed a step and fell to the ground with a thud. Instead of helping her, Janet and her friends pointed and laughed. "What you need, my dear, is a weight loss camp, not this NYSC orientation camp," Janet said mockingly. Tears welling in her eyes, Mary got up and spread her bed sheet on the bare floor instead. She lay down, exhausted from the long journey and the emotional toll of the day. 30 minutes later, another young lady walked into the room. "Hey, why are you sleeping on the floor?" she asked, gently waking Mary. "All the bottom bunks are taken. I fell while climbing to the top bunk, so I decided to sleep on the floor," Mary explained. "Oh dear, I completely understand. Don't worry, you can take my bottom bunk. I'll take the top one," the lady offered kindly. Mary couldn't believe what she was hearing. This was the first nice gesture she'd experienced since arriving at camp. "Thank you," she said gratefully. "I'm Mary." "Linda," the lady replied with a warm smile. "Nice to meet you, Mary." And so began Mary's NYSC journey, with one unexpected friend in a sea of cruelty. The following days proved to be just as difficult for Mary. Every morning, the corps members gathered on the parade ground for physical drills. The exercises were demanding for everyone, but especially challenging for Mary. During the first running exercise, she struggled to keep pace with the others. "Look at her. She's about to break the ground," Janet shouted from behind. When Mary eventually tripped and fell during a drill instead of helping her up, most of the corps members laughed. The platoon leader had to stop the entire exercise to check if she was all right. The torment continued in the camp cafeteria, while other female corps members received attention from male corps members who asked them on camp dates. Mary sat alone, Nobody wants to be seen with the elephant, Janet remarked loudly past Mary's table. One evening, during the camp's social note, Mary sat in the back row watching others perform. A group of corps members performed a skit that seemed suspiciously similar to Mary's situation. They had a character dressed in padded clothing, waddling around the stage while others laughed. Mary felt her heart sink as she realized they were mocking her, tears streaming down her face. Linda found her sitting alone. They think they're so clever, Linda said, sitting beside Mary. But they just revealed how small-minded they are. Sometimes I wonder why I even came here, Mary confessed. I could have skipped camp with a medical exemption and miss meeting me, Linda joked. Besides, you're stronger than all of them combined. Not physically, but where it matters, in here. She pointed to her heart. Mary smiled through her tears. Thank you for being my friend, Linda. Don't thank me for being decent, Linda replied. That should be the minimum expectation. As the days passed, Janet, Gift, and Queen Kongun continued their campaign of cruelty. Week 2 brought team activities where corps members were divided into groups for competitions. Predictably, no one wanted Mary on their team. We can't have her slowing us down, one male corps member said openly when the platoon leader was assigning teams. Fine, she's on my team, the platoon leader decided. During the obstacle course, Mary struggled with climbing over walls and crawling under nets, but she persevered. When it came to the puzzle-solving portion, however, she surprised everyone with her quick thinking, helping her team solve the complex riddle before any other group. Her teammates looked at her with newfound respect. It was a small victory that Mary cherished. Later that evening, as Mary sat on her bunk reviewing the camp manual, Janet approached her. Lucky guess with that puzzle, she sneered. Don't think one smart moment makes up for being a burden the rest of the time. Mary looked up from her manual. I don't need to prove anything to you, Janet. You'll never fit in here, Janet continued. This camp isn't built for people like you. And what kind of person am I exactly? Mary asked calmly. Janet seemed taken aback by Mary's composure. You know what I mean, she muttered before walking away. Then came the third and final week of camp, and all anyone could talk about was their posting, the place of primary assignment, PPA, where they would serve for the year. Everyone wanted a good placement, preferably at a company that paid well and might offer permanent employment after the service year. Where do you guys want to be posted to? Janet asked her friends one evening as they sat on their bunks. Any well-paying PPA, Gift replied. Preferably an oil company, she added dreamily. Oh, I didn't tell you guys, my dad works at a big oil company here in Rivers State, Janet said casually. Her friends looked at her with sudden interest. My father is a director at DE Oil and Gas, she continued. DE Oil and Gas, Queen exclaimed. That's like the biggest oil company in the country. See, don't worry, girls, Janet assured them with a confident smile. I'm going to talk to my dad, and you all will be posted to DE Oil and Gas. Just give me your state codes. We are going to enjoy our service year. Linda, who was arranging items in her locker, overheard them. Janet, please, can I give you mine too? She asked hopefully. Janet looked at her with disdain. We don't need people like you. You and that elephant can find a local school to teach in one of those villages. Gift and Queen burst into laughter as usual. Mary pretended to be sleeping but heard everything. She said nothing, just turned over in her bunk and closed her eyes. The next morning, news had spread throughout the camp about Janet being the daughter of a director at DE Oil and Gas. Corps members flocked to her, begging for her help with their posting. Some even began giving her special treatment, buying her meals in the cafeteria, and offering to do her laundry. Janet basked in the attention, but inside she was panicking. Her father wasn't a director at DE Oil and Gas. He was just a cleaner there. She had told a simple lie to impress her friends and hadn't expected it to spread so widely. However, she continued the charade, enjoying her newfound popularity and using it as another way to torment Mary. "Mary, I'm sure you'll find a primary school in some remote village for your PPA," Janet said one afternoon. "DE Oil and Gas can't take a fat pig like you." Mary looked at her and smiled without responding, which seemed to unnerve Janet more than any comeback could have. "Don't mind her, Mary," Linda said after Janet walked away. "She's just full of hot air." That evening, Mary approached Linda privately. "Can I have your state code?" she asked quietly. Linda looked confused. "My state code? What for?" "Just trust me," Mary said with a small smile. While the others slept that night, Janet lay awake, worried about her lie. Finally, she slipped out to the toilet block to make a phone call. "Hello, Papa, it's Janet," she whispered into her phone. "Janet, my daughter, I'm still begging the supervisors to help me with your posting, and you sent 2 more names." "I'm trying my best here," her father replied, sounding exhausted. "Do everything you can and don't embarrass me," Janet hissed. "If this doesn't work out, just forget you have a daughter called Janet." With that, she ended the call. Back at the maintenance quarters of DE Oil and Gas, Mr. Adams sighed heavily. Tomorrow he would plead with more officers, but for now, he needed to finish mopping the executive floor and rest before his early morning shift began again. Finally, the last day of camp arrived, and the posting letters were distributed. Janet, Gift, and Queen jumped with joy when they saw they'd all been posted to DE Oil and Gas. "I told you guys, my father is the boss there," Janet boasted loudly. Linda walked over to Mary with an excited expression. "Mary, I can't believe this. I got posted to DE Oil and Gas. What about you?" she asked. Mary just smiled mysteriously. "Nowhere exciting. I'm happy for you, Linda." The next morning, the 4 corps members, Janet, Gift, Queen, and Linda, arrived at the impressive headquarters of DE Oil and Gas. "Welcome, corps members," the receptionist greeted them professionally. "The CEO's daughter will be here shortly to address you all. She's your team head and also a corps member like yourselves." "I can't wait to meet her," Jana said, beaming with confidence. "I told you guys we're going to enjoy our service here." The receptionist led them into a sleek conference room down the hall. The 4 women sat nervously. After a few minutes, the receptionist returned. "Ladies, please join me in welcoming Miss Mary Ebele, the only daughter of Donald Ebele, the CEO of DE Oil and Gas," she announced formally. The 4 women thought they had misheard until Mary walked in, dressed in a perfectly pressed white shirt and black trousers, carrying herself with confidence and grace. Janet, Gift, and Queen stared in shock. Even Linda couldn't hide her surprise. Mary, the same Mary they had bullied and mocked at camp, was the CEO's daughter. Mary took her seat at the head of the conference table. "Well, ladies, shall we begin?" she asked calmly. Before anyone could respond, the door opened again, and a man in a cleaner uniform walked in. "Miss Ebele, I came to thank you and your father for agreeing to take in my daughter," Adam the cleaner said with gratitude, pointing at Janet. "Janet, your father is just a cleaner here," Queen exclaimed in disbelief. Janet couldn't answer as tears began rolling down her cheeks. Her lie had been exposed in the most humiliating way possible. Mary looked at each of them, her expression not one of triumph, but of quiet dignity. "Mr. Ade is one of our most dedicated cleaners," Mary said kindly. "And Janet, we're glad to have you join our organization. All of you, in fact," she added, looking at each lady in turn. Janet couldn't meet Mary's eyes. "Now," Mary continued, "let me explain your responsibilities during your service year. We believe in giving everyone a fair chance to prove themselves, regardless of first impressions." She emphasized those last words while looking directly at Janet, Gift, and Queen. Later that day, as the other corps members left for lunch, Mary asked Linda to stay behind. "You knew all along, didn't you?" Linda asked. "That's why you wanted my state code?" Mary nodded. "My father asked if I had any friends from camp I wanted to bring on board. You were the only one who showed me kindness when it wasn't convenient. I just treated you like a human being," Linda said simply. "And that made all the difference," Mary replied. "In a world where people are quick to judge others by their appearance, you chose to see beyond that." "What about Janet and the others?" Linda asked. "Are you going to make their lives difficult now?" Mary shook her head. "That would make me just like them. No, they'll be treated fairly, just like everyone else. Sometimes the best lesson isn't punishment, but kindness." Linda smiled. "As the Bible says in Hebrews 13:2, do not forget to show kindness to strangers, for by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it." "Exactly," Mary agreed. "You never know who someone really is just by looking at them. Not that I'm claiming to be an angel," she added with a laugh. The months that followed were transformative. Janet, Gift, and Queen initially struggled with their embarrassment, but Mary never mentioned their past behavior. She treated them with the same respect she showed all employees. Gradually, Janet began to appreciate the opportunity she had been given despite her lie. One day, she approached Mary after a team meeting. "I don't deserve your kindness," Janet admitted quietly. "Not after how we treated you." "Everyone deserves a second chance," Mary replied. "Besides, your father is indeed an important part of this company. Without people like him keeping this place clean, none of us could do our jobs effectively." By the end of their service year, the 5 women had learned valuable lessons that went far beyond any corporate training. They learned that appearances can be deceiving, that kindness matters more than social status, and that second chances sometimes lead to the most meaningful growth.